What is going on, everybody? The Original Mako back with another Shark Scale review thing here. Um, and today we have Vinland Saga, another one that I just finished. And there's actually going to be another one pretty soon because I'm doing one more short one after this. And then I'm going into Black Clover, which is going to take a while. But today we have Vinland Saga. And Vinland Saga was very good. It got hyped up a lot. It's I think season two's next year. I think. But yeah, a lot of people talked about it. It was a very hyped up anime when it came out, and I just got around to watching it recently. So we're gonna be talking about it a little bit and going through these different categories. For those of you who may have not watched one of my Shark Scale videos before, essentially there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories that I rank out of 100, and then I give an overall score at the end. And and then we place it wherever it falls on the list here. So we have characters, story, world, music / soundtrack, animations, and the overall enjoyment for the show. I try to make the first 5 as like unbiased, like just in general how good I think they are, and then the overall enjoyment is my bias part that comes in. But regardless, let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? First, we'll start off with the characters. I think the characters are fantastic. There's only a select few that really get the zoomed in attention time of the show in the first season. But those select few characters are fantastic. They're amazing. You've got at the beginning you've got Thor's, and then you get Thorfinn. You get Thorkel. A lot of Thors. You get Thorkel. You get Askeladd. You get Bjorn. Prince Canute is obviously a major one as well, and that's most of the big names that you're really going to be focused on. There's only about 6-ish, but they do a really good job with those characters. They each have obviously their own. I think the most interesting one by far is Askeladd, just because he's at first, when we first meet him, I thought he was just going to be a very quick part of the show, and that was it. After those 1 or 2 episodes he's in, but he actually becomes a really major part of the story, and he's really, really interesting with how he fights, how he thinks, how he acts, and then you learn a lot more about his backstory, and it all starts making more sense, and he becomes just he's a very, very good, he's not the protagonist, but he's a very good side character. And then Thorfinn, I think the main character of the show is good. It just needs, we obviously need more seasons, because season 1, he is just head down, raring, just one thing. He only has one thing on his mind. Everything he's doing is for one thing. And it's right now just one dimensional, but in season 2, that literally has to change. So I'm curious to see how it changes exactly. And then we got Prince Canute, which had one of the biggest character 180s I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, it was in a matter of 2 minutes in the show that he goes from one thing, and then this thing happens, and all of a sudden he is just a completely different person. And I think that was pretty cool and really interesting, something I didn't see coming at all. So he turned out to be a really interesting character as well. I kind of need that. I need something like that to happen to me, where in 2 minutes I can just have like my depression cured or something. But I think they did a great job with the characters overall. It wasn't anything like over the top. I think the only character that's like well above average is Askeladd. I think Askeladd was great. Other than that, the other characters just need a little more time to develop. So we're gonna go in the 80s, around an 84-ish. I think is good for the characters. So yeah, story. So the story it was a lot, season 1 felt like a lot of build up for the story to come. I think it's going to be heading in a very interesting and intriguing direction, but I don't know yet because we only have season 1. And season 1 was the story was just one thing. It was just Thorfinn head down revenge is all it was. It was just revenge. But moving forward, I mean, there was a little bit more to it, obviously, especially near the end. You start getting into some of the political things going on. But in general, you know, the main protagonist of the story is just revenge. And a little bit of like the Vinland thing in there. But that has to change in season 2. So where the story goes, I think, is going to be super interesting. I think the last scene, it was obviously definitely a cliffhanger that it left us on. And yeah, I'm just excited to see where Thorfinn takes the story from here. But as of right now, it's just not, it's not like a great, it's not a fleshed out story. It was very once again, one dimensional. But that's just because we haven't had season 2 yet. But I have to, after season 2, we'll come back and re-rank it. But as of right now, the story is just a very average kind of whatever type of story. I mean, it's interesting watching him try to get revenge and the different ways he kind of builds himself up as a character, but that's like all it is. And then, like I said, a little bit of politics at the end that made it, I'll actually move it up just a little bit because that part at the end with the politics made the story a lot more interesting. But season 2, I think it's going to pick up a lot. Next up, we got the world, which it is just like the normal world. It's not like a special type of world or anything, but the setting is what's going to make this really high for me because it's like Viking times, right? These are all Vikings. It's that time period, that time frame. And for me personally, I think that is a very, very, very interesting time frame. And I think the whole way of life, the way of living in that time frame is just interesting and intriguing. And the Viking way of life, like all that stuff, Valhalla, everything is just super interesting to me. I'm a big fan of a lot of, well, certain time periods in history, but history is definitely very interesting for me. Usually very old history. So this time frame I think is amazing, and it makes it really, really fun to watch because I'm genuinely interested in, you know, just that period of time. So it makes it a lot of fun for me, which is why I'm going to put the world at a 90. No, I'm going to go high 80s because it's not like a super crazy, just fleshed out. It's got a bunch of lore, you know, it's just a really cool time frame, I think. So we're going to put that at an 88. The music and soundtrack during the show was really, really good. The intros, there were 2, I believe, were nothing special. For me, they weren't bad, but I don't think there was anything super special about them. So those didn't really bump it up any. But during the show, during the fight scenes, during the, you know, intense moments, I think the music did a really good job of setting the tone. But I'd say it's overall quite average. So if 70 is an average, I'd say it's a little above that. It didn't take away from the show. So we'll go like a 73 for the music. It was nothing insane, but it was good. Next up, we have animation. I think the animation is super clean. The fight scenes are done really well, I think. And then like there's nothing flat. There's no flashy animations like, you know, Demon Slayer or anything, but it's all done super clean, and the choreography in the fights is really good as well. So I think the animation is going to be pretty high here. It was very, you know, all of the ships looked really good. The art style in general was really good. So animation was a pretty high point for me. Once again, nothing super over the top special. So I'm going to give it like an 85. Actually, I'll go like 86. I'll bump that up just a little bit because characters are 84. I think the animation outweighs the characters just a bit. Overall enjoyment. I enjoyed it a lot. I did. I thought it was well paced with action. I thought the development and build up of the characters through the first season was good. Like I said, I just need them to reach some of these resolutions and start really getting into the characters a little bit. But like I said, it's probably to come in season 2. But I'm very excited for season 2. I can't wait for season 2. The ending was very good, and like I said, it sets up the story for something amazing in season 2, which makes me excited for the future, which adds to my overall enjoyment because I know there will be a season 2. So my overall enjoyment's quite high with this show. I'm going to put it about a 91, a little over a 90. I think, like I said, it made me excited for season 2. It's well done. There's good pacing, good fights, good animation. The time period, like I said, is super interesting to me. And yeah, overall, I'm excited and I can't wait for it. So there we have it. Let's go ahead and do the calculation here. I should have had this open, my bad. Okay, 84, 75, 88, 73, 6, and 91. All right, 600. And 82.8 is where we're at there out of 100. Close. And I think that's, honestly, that feels about right for the first season. Like I said, I'm sure this number will almost certainly get bumped up a good chunk when season 2 comes around, but we have to wait for that. So that being said, let's go ahead and cut, and 82.8 is what we need to find. Survey says it is, okay, so it's tied with God Eater, which means I got to make it, would I put it above God Eater or below God Eater? I think I'd have to put it above God Eater. I do. Yeah, I think we put it above God Eater for sure. Mainly because God Eater is over and there's not going to be a second season, whereas Vinland Saga, I know there's potential for the future for this to just go up. Okay, so now I got to make sure the rest of these are lined up correctly, because for some reason it's pretty unintuitive. Let me back up there. And I think we're good. So there we have it, an 82.8. Like I said, that feels pretty good, honestly. And yeah, I can't wait to revisit this one after season 2 and kind of see where it's gone and what we're feeling after season 2. So anyway, that's it for this Shark Scale video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Like I said, there's going to be another one pretty soon. Spoiler alert, the one I'm watching right now has been really good so far. It's only 12 episodes and I've watched like 8 and it's been really good. So I'm excited to finish this one and do another Shark Scale on it. But that being said, thank you guys so much for the support as always. Hopefully you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I love each and every one of your faces, and I will catch you all in the next video.